Math 1012, volume and surface area. Volume means for a three-dimensional shape, you're finding not only the outside part, but also the inside part. And volume is usually measured in cubic units. Surface area is just around the figure, and surface area is in square units. To find all the various formulas and to become familiar with all the different shapes, search on Google geometry formula handout or formula sheet or PDF, and find you a sheet that lists all of the formulas for both two-dimensional and three-dimensional shapes. Our first example, we're given a rectangular box and we need to find the volume and surface area of it. The volume formula for a box is just simply length times width times height, in which the length here is 7.1 inches, the width is 5 inches, and the height is 3 inches. So you just plug each number into your calculator, and that will give you the volume. So 7.1 times 5 times 3, 106.5 cubic inches. With the same dimensions, same shape, we also need to find the surface area. Surface area for a rectangular solid is given by the formula 2 times LW plus 2 times LH plus 2 times WH, where L, W, and H still stand for length, width, and height. So you just plug everything in carefully. And it's already been plugged in for you on my notes. Now you can see over here when you do all the multiplications, this is what you end up with on the next to the last line. And you just add these together. So the surface area of our rectangular solid is 143.6 square inches. So all you're really doing is finding the appropriate formulas and then plugging in the dimensions. Next shape. Find the volume and surface area of the right circular cylinder. So the volume formula first. It is pi times your radius squared times the height of the cylinder. So we just plug in everything. R is 9 and it's squared, and the height is 7. So according to order of operations, we square the 9 first. So that would be 81 times 7. So that's 567 pi. And just put that in your calculator. So 567 times pi. And round to whatever whatever place value my math lab wants. Let's say they wanted to round it to the 10th place. So this will be 1,781.3 cubic inches. Next, find the surface area. And the surface area has its own formula. For a right circular cylinder, it's 2 pi times the radius times the height plus 2 pi r squared. So we just plug all of our given information into our surface area formula. So we have 2 pi times 9 times 7 plus 2 pi times 9 squared. Now, when you multiply the first part, you would get 126 pi plus 9 squared is 81 times 2 is 162 pi. And let's put this, you can actually add the pi's together. So that would be 288 pi. Now put that in your calculator. So pi times 288. Now, on my notes it says 904.3, but since we used all of pi's place value instead of just 3.14, I would accept 904.8. If you had used just 3.14, then that will give you what my notes gave you. And the directions may say use 3.14 for pi. So if the directions say that, then use that alternate value. The next figure is kind of unique because it's not one of the most well-known figures. This solid is known as a hemisphere. And a hemisphere is actually half of a full sphere. And a hemisphere has its own formula for volume. Its formula is 2/3 pi times the radius cubed. Now let's plug in our values. And this time around, let's use 3.14 for pi. And the given radius is 16 inches, and we are cubing that. So let me pull up my calculator. 16, and then my exponent key, and then my actual exponent, and then times 3.14 times 2, and then let's divide that all by the denominator 3. So to the 10th place, the volume of our hemisphere is roughly 8,574.3 cubic inches. Let's look at another figure. This figure is known as a cone, or more technically as a right circular cone. And we need to find its volume. So the volume is the volume formula. I'm going to use a different formula. The capital B represents the area of the base, but since the base here is a circle, we can replace capital B with the area formula for a circle, and that's pi r squared. And then bring down the h. Once you pick the right formula, plug in your given dimensions. So we'll use 3.14 for pi. The radius is 12, and it's squared. And the height is 22 meters. So let's pull up our calculator and put everything in. 12 squared is 144 times 22 times 3.14, and then finally divide that by the denominator 3. All right, so to the tenths place again, our final volume is 3,315.8 cubic meters. Let's look at another shape. And you will be asked to name the solid. You'll just pick from a variety of solids and then find the solid's volume, excuse me. This is known as a pyramid. And the given pyramid has a rectangular base. But let me introduce you to the formula that we'll be using. Volume equal to capital B, which represents the area of the base. H is still the height, and all divided by 3. Now, because our base is a rectangle, then we can use the area formula length times width, in which the length is 18 and the width is 10. So capital B, or the area of the base of the pyramid, is 180 square centimeters. Let's plug in the height now. That's 17, and this is all over 3. So we got 180 times 17 divided by 3. And for this one, no rounding is needed. This answer, I'm sorry. It would be exactly 1,020 cubic centimeters for the pyramid's volume. This next example, we're not given a picture, so we need to figure out what picture we are dealing with. An oil candle globe made of hand-blown glass has a diameter of 26.4 centimeters. What is the volume of the globe? Use 3.14 for pi. The key word there is globe, and a globe is in the shape of a sphere. The volume for the shape of a sphere is 4/3 pi times the radius cubed. The directions say use 3.14 for pi. Now be careful, we're not given the radius, instead we're given the diameter. So we need to find the radius. And you just take the given diameter and divide it by 2. So 26.4 over 2. And that will give us 13.2 for the radius. Now we can plug that in place of r. Now, although we can use our calculator, we still have to follow order of operations somewhat. So 13.2 cubed has to go in first, times 3.14 times 4, and last step, divide by the denominator 3. Again, to the 10th place, the volume of our candle globe is roughly 9,629.2 cubic centimeters. Let's look at this example. Again, a picture is not given, but we are given the type of shape. It is a stone pyramid. One of the ancient stone pyramids in Egypt has a square base that measures 138 meters on each side. The height is 81 meters. What is the volume of the pyramid? So let's write down our volume formula first, where capital B represents the area of your base of your pyramid. Now, it tells us it's a square base, so we just define the area of the square base, multiply the given side times itself. And as you see in my notes, that gives you 19,044 square meters for the square base. So let's plug everything in now. Capital B is 19,044. The height is 81, and that's all divided by 3. I'm not going to show the calculator with this problem, but when you enter everything in your own calculator, you should get exactly 514,188 cubic meters. I think you should do fine with these examples. Let's look at let's look at one more word problem. Find the exact volume of a waffle ice cream cone with a 21-inch diameter and a height of 25 inches. The first step, and these formulas are not always going to be given to you, you have to find the right formula. So because we have a right circular cone, The volume is 1/3 pi r squared times h, where h is the height, or in this case 25 inches. But we're given the diameter instead of the radius. So to find the radius, you just take half the diameter. So half of 21 would be 10.5. So let's finish plugging in our values now that we have the radius. And I'm going to pull up my calculator and show you the steps. 10.5 squared times 25 times pi and divide all that by the given denominator, 3. Oh, and they kept it in terms of pi. I missed that. So just leave your answer in terms of pi. But I'm sure your instructor would give you full credit if you put your answer in decimal form. This concludes the video Math 1012 over volume and surface area.